So something you folks have been asking for is back. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. Got the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves right here in front of me, including a very popular restock that you've been asking for, which is what I said before I said anything else.
Well, if it was worth saying, it was worth oversaying.
Let's get into it. So the first thing on the table today is a restock of the Knife Center exclusive Sebenza in Singo blade shape, in drop point blade shape, and for the first time also in the Tanto blade shape. Here it is. Price on these, it is a Sebenza, so it is not going to be cheap. $685. What you're getting for that is one of the kind of standard bearer frame locking pocket knives. It's one of those things that still, decades after this knife was first introduced, has seen some updates since then. It's been continually worked on. This knife is still sort of the standard by which other premium frame locks are judged, for good reason. What do we got? 3.6-inch blade here, Magna cut steel, Tanto profile on this one with a hollow grind and flat leading edge right there. Gives you a nice amount of thickness right there at the tip. It's a little more sturdy than some of the other blade shapes. Really highly refined convex edge on there. Very, very sharp indeed. Green micarta with the glass blasted finish all around, which tends to hide scratches a little more than the bead blasted finish, which is still an option on the Chris Reeve knives. This will kind of stay looking more box fresh longer than those other versions. We've also got double thumb lugs, gold in this case, gold matching hardware here at the back as well, which you can see. Super tight lockup. I mean that in a good way. It's not like tight to flick open, as you can see. That still works quite nicely. But there's a reason the kind of stereotype or the trope, the overused phrase when it comes to Sebenzas is bank vault-like lockup. And here I am perpetuating that stereotype. But hey, what are you gonna do? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Pocket clip with the two pinch points to give you a little bit of extra retention. Classic folded style here on there and the lanyard fob at the back. But it's a Sebenza. If you don't know, it's an experience. I guess I could say, like, all the details are so precisely done and thought out that it really does feel like an elevated quality. You've got a nice crown spine here, that super tight lockup, and just the motion of it. It's not a modern, like, flicky knife in general, although as you could see, I can flick the blade open. It is just silky smooth and oh so satisfying. Check them out at the link below.
The Porsche 911 knives.
Always good. Looks a lot like they did decades ago.
Yes, some stubborn design decisions that I just won't step away from.
Rear engine too. No, I don't know. Next up, dropping today, we have got new GiantMouses. Sure, we'll go with GiantMouse. The bolstered version of the Farley V2 is here. Two versions, as you can see, $195 for this green micarta with brass titanium bolstered. Actually, is that actual brass? That is actual brass, it looks like, with integral bolsters in there too, which is cool. That's, like I said, $195 or $225 for the bolstered titanium handles with carbon fiber for the inlays. Each of them get a 2 3/4-inch drop point blade with a very nice graceful hump there, very nice sinuous lines. LMAX steel on that as well with a full flat grind and crowned spine as well. Going to be a really nice modern slip joint, because it is, as you can see, a slip joint. Nice half stop along the travel. The walk and talk is quite nice. It's convenient to carry, unlike, well, I should say unlike a classic slip joint. Some folks don't like, a knife without a pocket clip. They don't like how it can kind of bang around in the pocket. Some do. This one, you can do either, but you have the pocket clip option here with the reversible wire pocket clip. Works left or right. Quite nice. I would say this makes this a symmetrical righty or lefty knife, knife, but you don't have nail nicks on each side. But as you can see by the way I actually opened it, you don't really, at least I'm not using the nail nick itself. I'm just pinching the blade. That works quite nice too. But anyway, take your pick. Satin finish on the carbon fiber, stone washed on the micarta version here. So, you know, scratches will kind of blend into that finish a little more. But if you like the kind of classier look of the satin finish, that is an option. The Sebenzas, I should mention, those all have stone washed finishes as well, these exclusives. Also dropping today, new from CIVIVI. I'm gonna go out of order here. Thomas is all.
Gee, thanks.
But there's a reason for that, because I should have put the slip joints together. This is the Elementum, CIVIVI's hands down most popular knife. They've made over 1 million of them, and that was a year ago when they sent out that announcement. Part of the reason for that is they keep doing new platforms or new extensions of the knife into new categories, this being a slip joint Elementum. This version I think is the coolest looking. This has what is it called? Blue Ocean resin for the handles, which is very nice. This is about 60 bucks, $59.50 to be exact. Base versions of this with G10 come in just over 50 bucks. And then there's about 5 different versions. You've got a wood handle, G10, micarta, resin, and a carbon fiber. And that carbon fiber comes with a Damascus blade. That one's about 90 bucks. But the others all range between $51 and $60. This one right under that $60 point. 14C 28N blade steel, good solid stuff. Holds an edge pretty decently, and it is nice and tough, which means that thin hollow grind on the Elementum here is gonna withstand a little bit more than it might otherwise. That's quite nice. Just under 3 inches long, same classic shape as the classic Elementum blade, same classic handle. Actually, let's compare it, shall we? Haven't done that yet. Let me pull out our exclusive Elementum here, button lock Elementum, still available with S35 VN steel. Yep, blade shape looks almost identical. You're losing just a fraction of a bit there in sharpened edge, and handle shape, let's do it this way, is bang on. And it's thinner like the original Elementum versus thicker like the button lock Elementum, or the Elementum 2, I guess it's called. Let's put that right there. So it's kind of exactly what you would expect then in all of that regard. We've got a reversible deep carry pocket clip. If you prefer a classic slip joint experience, you could of course just take it off, and a half stop with nice walk and talk. If you don't know, kind of why a half stop, you're asking, one, it's nice, just feels good, but it's also kind of a safety measure too. It can keep the blade from traveling all the way closed sometimes if you happen to accidentally get it disengaged. Your fingers might be in the way, but you know, your fingers will stop things too. There you go. Slip joint Elementum. Next up from CIVIVI, all of these dropping today as mentioned. This is probably the most anticipated one right here. This is the Clingman, designed by YouTuber Taylor Martin. A few versions of this one right here coming in about $63 with this natural micarta, and they start right around that $60 mark depending on which version you get. No Damascus steel here. These are all Nitro V blades, just under 3 inches long, and with this cool handle shape. And it's really kind of a nice modern interpretation of a classic trapper. At least that's what it says to me when I pick it up. Really nicely done. Again, we've got a nice hollow grind with a very thin edge. Nice classic CIVIVI touch there. The pocket clip here gets a little bit of an upgrade from a simple folded number to this milled titanium piece, giving it a little more rigidity and a little more niceness as well. Liner lock, ball bearings in the pivot, and 2 opening methods here. You've got the thumb studs, which I'm gonna prefer, and you've got a front flipper. And I'm never the best at front flippers, and I'm really never the best at these small front style flippers. I was saying. Lefty, that's to be expected. Huh. I am
a body snatcher.
Pleasantly surprised, actually. I guess it's a combination between the actual angle to the pivot and the jimping that's on there. I'm having no problems front flipping that. Interesting.
The reprogramming works.
Longtime viewers of this channel are probably proud of me. If you're new to this channel and wondering why I'm spending so much time talking about that, I'm very sorry. Welcome. But it's a cool little pocket knife. You've got a really aggressive downward angle to the blade, and especially in a short blade like this, what that's going to give you is the ability to give clearance for your knuckles. If you're doing anything on a surface, whether it's opening a package and your hands close to the package, or anything else, slicing food even though it's a shorter blade for a food prep knife, you could do it, and that's going to give you what you need there for that clearance. It also means the tip is going to be a little easier to use because you're bending your wrist less to actually get to that point when you need to pierce something. Nice design decision right there that I appreciate. Very cool knife. Next up, we have got from Sencut the Regnator. And Sencut being the lowest tier of the CIVIVI Sencut brand hierarchy, still offers a lot of quality, but the prices on these are kind of ridiculously good. $40 for this knife right here, and it's a 3.5 inch, I believe it's 9CR series stainless. Yes, it is, which is more than acceptable at this price range for sure. Black and white G10 on this one. There are other versions that have different darker colors. There's a black on black and a green on black. Those come with black coated blades as well for the same price. We've got full length liners with that liner lock. Close it up, we've got a deep carry pocket clip, truly deep carry, and it is reversible, and 2 ways to open here. You got the flipper tab, ball bearings in the pivot means it moves quite nicely, and you got those thumb studs as well. But it's a really nice blade shape, man. Again, high hollow grind, very thin edge, and a swedge in this case here, taking a little bit of that drag away. A little bit of that downward angle too, not as much as on the Clingman, but it does have it. It's nice, it feels light. I mean, what are we dealing with here? About, just about 3.6 ounces. I like it, and it looks good too. That's always a nice thing. And from We Knife Company now, we have some of the higher end folders. This is the Epaulette from Gavco, the designer, Gavco, and it's an epaulette, so it goes on your shoulder, right? Those that don't know, an epaulette is part of like a military uniform, and they go like right up here.
That's the shape.
Bang on, spot on. Anyway, I'm weirdly like loopy today. I don't know why. Apologies.
Isn't there a knife called the Chip?
Yeah.
You could have put that on your shoulder.
It's an artisan cutlery, don't you know? Anyway, why are we bringing that knife up? This knife is cool. Several different flavors. This is the one I liked the best personally. It's kind of got a darkened finish on the titanium handle here with this diamond tread type texture and a similar finish. They call it polished gray. It has kind of like a gunmetal feel to it. I really, really like it. It's not just a flat, simple finish. It has character to it. It has some subtle variation as you move it around in the light, and fuzz from my shoulder there as well, that I just really appreciate. Very nice. Milled pocket clip, super stable lock up there. Nice frame lock on the back, as you can plainly see. Ball bearings in the pivot. You can flip it quite nicely. You can flick it with the index or the middle finger there with the reverse flick quite nicely, because that's a nice oversized opening hole in the blade. You could of course slow roll the open as well. Feels good. This is another knife that has knuckle clearance if you're doing anything on a surface. That should be the title for today's new knives video. Like, your knuckles will love these knives. That may be the dumbest video title I've ever come up with.
Sonic movie came out not too long ago.
I'm sorry guys, very, very loopy today. Anyway, the next Wii knife is the Zenthra. Like this Epaulette here, super, super high quality going on. I don't know what part of the uniform the Zenthra is, however, so I don't know where to put it right now.
I'm gonna say tie clip.
That'd be a pretty classy tie clip, actually. Oh, I didn't mention the price on the Epaulette. Sorry, it was about $300 for this version, $301 and some change. The low price on these, they're starting at $276 and some change, it looks like. That is for a more black version as opposed to this kind of polished gray thing going on. But a few different ones you can pick from. This polished gray and the more high polished version are the most expensive at just over $300. The Zenthra here, this version is coming in at about $285. Low price on this series is starting at about $278, up to $285, depending on which of the 4 you get. So kind of a tight range on those. 3.3-inch blade, M390 steel, nice Wharncliffe shaped. Handles are titanium. This one has aluminum carbon fiber for the inlays, both front and back. And you've got that frame lock here underneath, or partially going underneath the handle inlay right there. It's a nice clean shape. Big hands are gonna have no problems using this knife. If you want a bigger grip, you've got it for sure. And it's neutral enough though that a lot of different hand sizes I think should have no real problem using the knife. Milled clip, nice tight lockup, ball bearings in this old pivot as well with good flipping action and good thumb stud action too. Let's try the reverse flick. I haven't done yet. This one might be a little tricky given that it's thumb studs and not a blade opening. Yeah, less of a fan of that for me, but I do have kind of bigger fingers too. You might have better luck. Super, super nice. I don't think I mentioned the blade length on that Gavco either. 3.45.
Check.
CIVIVI, back to CIVIVI because we've got a fixed blade that I want to bring things back around to. This is called the Perfrico, and they start around 85 bucks. Actually, they end around 85 bucks as well. $84.75 or $85 on the nose, depending on which version you get. They are coming with 14C28N for the blade steel. The blade length is about 4.5, and it is a dagger grind profile, but it is single-edged in this case. But if you wanted to sharpen it yourself, this is a very thin top grind here, so you would be able to do that if you wish. This version has this cool kind of chevron alternating light and dark gray going on. The other versions have more standard finishes. You've got a black blade finish with a green handle and a satin blade finish with a black handle, but this burgundy comes with this striking finish, so I thought, hey, why not? Let's throw this one on the table.
Striping finish.
It's very striping indeed. Ergos are good. You've got a really nice shape. These are not just simple flat slabs on the side. The palm swell is really well considered. Do pay attention to which edge is facing down, however, because the handle is symmetrical. So it could be very easy to be holding it the wrong way and put your finger up here to push into a cut. Don't do that. Pay attention. Yeah, it's not one of those that indexes naturally in the cutting away from you position. So just pay attention. Nice thumb scallops here if you wanted to get up for a either tactical grip or just a utility style grip. It is really nicely scooped away right there to get out of the way of your thumbs. Full tang, slightly protruding here at the back, and you got this extra long box braid going on. I would probably remove that. This is kind of, they always tend to put like big box braids on their fixed blades, but at least they're easy to remove, so I can't complain too much. Sheath is Kydex, and it comes with CIVIVI's T-clip here, designed by Bob Terzola. Pop Terzola, why not? Let's call him that. It is essentially a thing that takes what Blade Tech has done with the Tech Lock and tweaks it just a little bit by replacing these two holes with slots instead. Gives you a lot more kind of versatility and variability in what you can attach the sheath to. There you go. Really nice package overall. Feels super well put together. If you're looking for a tactical dagger style knife that is single-edged, good option for you right there. Speaking of tactical style, single-edged things, how about an OTF? Most OTFs are, or many OTFs are double-edged. This one is not, however. This is the Ultratech ZBP, standing for Zero Blade Play from Microtech. We have had these kind of rolling in batches for the last several weeks. They've all been getting snatched up, but I made sure to snatch one for ourselves for this video real quick to be able to show you folks, to let you know that we are getting these in stock. Batches are continuing to roll in each week. So we'll leave a link to the series down below and you can see what is currently available.
Bookmark it.
And bookmark it if you wish, yeah. Because this may or may not be in stock by the time this video posts. In between when we film this and when the video goes up, I don't know what's gonna happen. So if that's the case, just keep an eye out at that link and you can see what we do or don't have right now, basically. $379 for this one. You've got 3.5 inches of M390 MK steel, which is essentially a supremely highly precise version of M390. which enables Microtech to kind of maintain really high quality control and standards on their blade steel and heat treat with these blades. Tonto finish, plain or Tonto shape with a plain edge on this one and a stone washed finish. On top of the ZBP feature, you've got all the latest Microtech kind of generational improvements on their OTF designs, including the double drivetrain. Is that what they call it? That might not be what they call it. Dual fuel drivetrain is what they call it anyway. It is a little bit easier to actuate than previous iterations or previous generations of Microtech's action, but as you can see, the action itself still super strong. My favorite part, it's a small detail, but it's those small details that I really appreciate that set things apart from the next thing down the line, is the crud cutter, as they call it. These little serrations or channels at the bottom of the switch's travel path right here, which enables them to, one, reduce friction because there's less to rub up against, and it also leaves a place for like little bits of dust and grit that are going to be in your pocket when you're carrying the knife in your pocket. Gives them a place to live and stay out of the way of the opening action of the blade. It's a very cool thing. So wait, I said it was ZBP, which stands for zero blade play, but I didn't really like talk about why that's such a big deal. There are surprisingly few or vanishingly few OTF knives on the market where you don't have a little bit of wiggle in the blade. That's just always been the case. And it wasn't until very recently that folks have started to figure out ways to kind of eliminate that. And Microtech is the latest and still one of the few, and yeah, super, super stable. Next up, we have another OTF that does not have a zero blade play type feature. It is considerably less expensive, however, and that is the Kershaw Livewire. And here's what I mean, just a little bit of wiggle in the blade, not enough so that you feel like it's weak or not strong or is going to break on you. It's just a little bit of play in the mechanism. Part and parcel to it, that's what happens. But this knife right here with a 3.3-inch MagnaCut blade is about $220. So if you're price shopping between the two, you'd have to decide what's the difference there? Like $380 to $220. So you have to decide if $160 difference is worth it to you. Up to you. Right? Did I do my math right there?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Probably. If I didn't, they'll correct me in the comments.
Please do.
Aluminum handles here, matte Diskin collaboration. You've got the American flag on this one engraved in. And as some would say, it's going the right way. We get that question a lot sometimes. They'll look at the flag on the back of their US made knives here and say, why is it going the wrong way? Well, it's actually not. This is also an acceptable use because, the stars are facing towards battle, so to speak. You'd see this a lot on military uniforms, so it's still good to go. The flag is like flying behind you as you're charging forward. Get it? Good. Action on these is still quite good, even though you don't have zero blade play. Deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible, and it maintains that kind of angled look on each side of the knife as well. Nice thin blade stock on this. The Livewire is one of the thinner bladed OTFs on the market, which makes it a little more suitable for everyday slicing. But if you want, something with more strength, the Ultratechs are certainly an option that you could take a look at. Speaking of strength, how about some big, beefier fixed blades? Got two here real quick. The Dawson Knives War Dog. This is a limited edition, $680 knife, clearly inspired by classic Mark II fighters. 6 3/4 inch long blade, MagnaCut steel with a high hollow grind, just like the classic knives, not the MagnaCut part, but the hollow grind part. And thick enough steel at the spine that looks like it's about 3/16 of an inch thick for a good bit of strength. Stacked leather handle with some really nice ergonomic considerations. I mean, that's not just a simple oval or even simply swelled. You've got a lot going on there, and it indexes quite nicely. A little bit less prone to twisting than the perfectly round kind of classic examples you might find out there. Nice. Sheath is leather. It has a retention strap on the front right here to go over the simple post, and you got a belt loop on the back. There you go. Have we not talked about the qualities that make MagnaCut very interesting nowadays yet? I don't believe we have. get ready, folks. If you're tired of me explaining it, I'm very sorry. Magnet cut is very tough. It holds an edge a long time, and it is stainless. Most other steels can only pull off 2 of those traits with any degree of success. Magnet cut does all extremely well.
You need to put that on a soundboard.
But
Just hit a button.
I'm trying to find like better ways of saying it all the time. Last but not least, we have a big old Bowie from Svord. This is their Coffin Bowie with S guard. Very cool. $315 for these. You got a 9.5-inch blade with a convex edge on it right there. You know, the way I always like to describe Svord is they're like expertly primitive feeling. Like obviously, or expertly rustic, I would say. Primitive isn't the wrong word. Obviously, this does not have the same kind of like spick and span type of finishing that you might expect from, you know, We Knife Company, for example, folder to fixed blade, but you get what I'm looking at. But everything is put together exactly right. Check out the edge itself. It is completely straight along the bottom, and that nice hand-finished convex edge is just the icing on the cake. Being able to do a hand-finished convex like that without, you know, a little more variation in the actual shape of that edge, you know, even big companies out there sometimes get that wrong. So that's really cool. Very aggressive swedge coming down almost to sharpened state. It is not sharpened, however. The S-guard there is definitely going to protect your hands if you're using this in a classic Bowie knife fighting style. But, you know, it can protect your hand if you're using it, just to hack bushes in your backyard too, I would say. You're not really going to like choke up and do finer work quite as well with it because of the S-guard, but again, this is more looking at historical examples rather than to be like a modern catch-all big knife. Ebony wood for the handles. Black lucite is also an option. $315 if I didn't mention for the price. And the sheath here is kind of classic inside the waistband Bowie style. You can see there's no kind of like real belt attachment. Yes, this loop here will work if your belt is narrow enough. If you have really wide belts, it's not going to do it. But the peg here on the front is designed so you can kind of slip it inside the hem of your pants, and that'll keep it from heading down any further. I've never tried it. I feel like it might get in the way of me personally, but hey, different strokes for different strokes, right?
The loop is for suspenders.
Ah, there you go.
That's the guess.
It's good to be wrong sometimes. It's how we learn about things. Anyway, that's all I've got time to show you this week. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the knives, and to get your hands on any of them, check out the links in the description, of course, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. Or if you want to break up payments on one of these more expensive knives, you can use our Sezzle payment option. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, so you can earn some free money to spend on a future knife. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.